So, Farron, did you always want to be a reporter? Because I find you fascinating because I
Oh.
wanted to be a reporter when I was a little girl. Like, and by little, I mean in college. I was mentally little. I was mentally small. So,
Um, you didn't miss much. No.
okay.
Well, I'll tell you this. Uh, I actually wanted to be a comedian. So it's kind of funny,
We
roles reversed.
swapped.
We swapped. My ever since I was little, my first initial dream was to be a Weekend Update anchor on Saturday Night Live. I loved watching Weekend
Wow.
Update. I started watching the reruns with my dad when it was like Kevin Nealon, when it was Norm Macdonald was my all-time favorite just because I love Norm.
Yeah.
But even when you had Dan Aykroyd, you had Dennis Miller, who I eventually went on to work with, which was super weird.
Ooh,
Uh,
what was that
but
like?
um, he's changed.
Ooh,
He's
how
changed.
so?
Um, he's a lot more ornery now, like a little bit more of an old man.
Okay.
Um,
He got crusty.
yeah, exactly. Because I think a lot of it was he started doing more jokes on the right and people kind of started shoving him out. And then he got a gig at RT America. And I will never forget, he literally said on his show one day, and he used to get like great guests. He was like, yeah, he's like, I used to have a podcast, but it was too much work. I need people to work for me. So here I am. And it's like, bro, like, you don't really say that shit out loud. Like, it's one of these
Yeah.
things like, keep it
It's
to
not
yourself.
endearing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not hard at all to do a like, it's not gonna be super on point, but it's very doable to do a podcast completely by yourself. Like, it's
Yeah,
not that hard.
exactly. So it also shows like, yeah, you're kind of dumb too, because it's pretty easy. Adam Carolla can do it. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
But no, so I started, I then was a competitive dancer for a long time.
Wow! I
Yeah,
didn't know you were a stripper.
I know. Actually, I
Yeah.
was I was just the level below a stripper. I was an NBA dancer.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, you were like a cheerleader.
Well,
That is so
if you've
exciting.
seen Bring It On, cheerleaders are dancers who have gone retarded. I was a dancer where,
That is so cool. You've done
yeah.
all the things that I wanted to do.
I'm telling you, you didn't miss much. You
Okay.
really didn't miss much. You got paid $50 a game. You had to be there all day. I
Wow.
was happy. It was a great experience, but I was actually just in Phoenix not too like about a week and a half ago, and we went to the Cardinals opening game, and I see all the dancers come out, and they're all like, cute with their little bodies and their little outfits, and I'm like, oh my god, like I remember those outfits. I love those. And my mom's like, do you miss it? And I was like, hell no. And she was like, why? And I was like, I will never forget the moment when I realized we were somewhat insignificant. It was
Aw.
3rd quarter, or I'm sorry, triple overtime. It was I danced for the Bulls. It was Derrick Rose's 2nd year for those who want to know what year with Chicago Bulls. 2009, 2010. Or no, it was 2010, 2011. I'm sorry. And we were going into triple overtime against Cleveland. This is when LeBron James was still playing for Cleveland. And I remember we had to during the 4th quarter, we had to go out and dance for every single timeout. Well, 3rd overtime, we had been out maybe about 25, 26 times by that point. We're all sweating, we're tired as shit. And we get out there and you kind of need some adrenaline because I mean, you're trying to catch your breath going to and from the side of the court to the main court to go dance. And all of a sudden, like, we hear like, "Wow!" And we're like, "Oh my god, like, yes, like, the crowd's picking it up, like, they love us." And I look over, and there's a guy with the t-shirt gun, like, shooting off all these t-shirts, and I'm like, "Yeah, they're not cheering for us, they want a free t-shirt." They could literally give 2
Oh,
shits. But that's when I
no.
realized, like, these girls work so hard, and then it's like, "Oh, cool, like, where's the t-shirts?" And you're kind of like, "That sucks." So that's why I told my mom, I was like, I did it. It was a great experience. Not everybody gets to say that they used to sit sideline on the court because now all the NBA dancers they don't sit on the sidelines anymore, or they move them off to because of
Really?
all the accidents and stuff that were
'Cause of all the
happening.
chlamydia.
Yeah, that and the balls in the face and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh,
I was one of the
wow.
last generation to sit on the sidelines on the court.
There's
But
something
yeah.
really cool about having at least one of those kind of jobs in your, like, 20s, I guess, where you're like, okay, like, you don't know at the time how underpaid you are, or even like
Mhm.
your 30s, it doesn't even matter, but have like one job where you're like, this is cooler than it is financially rewarding.
Oh, yeah, like TV.
Yeah. Yes.
But the thing was is so then I went on to Second City, and I was doing stuff at Second City, and then I realized, like, "Oh, pay is really tough." And I graduated in journalism from Purdue, so I was like, "All right, we'll go into TV," and I always knew, that I loved TV, I loved performing, I had performed starting at a young age, but, it was one of those things I didn't know if I was gonna do comedy or the news. And one crossover that you see a lot of comics do, a la Dennis Miller, they either go into the weather or they're the morning anchor, and I started as the morning
Oh,
anchor. So, yeah,
wow.
the fun anchor, right? The fun
That is
one.
fun. Did you get to try a lot of, like, snacks and, like, pet animals and stuff? Like, that's what I
Oh,
imagine the mornings are like.
let's see. I have jumped out of what was it? Skydived. I went up in a biplane with like a World War II vet. It was like his final flight that he flew. Don't know why
Oh,
I did that one
wow.
because that one could have gone down real fast. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I drove a BMW at 100 miles an hour on black ice to show how black ice can make cars
Oh
skid
my
out at this
god.
one
You
tire rack
also could have
place.
died.
I did an ice river rescue where you wear like the big Gumby outfits, and I performed like an ice rescue thing.
That's
All the
fun.
food you can think of. Every puppy has been on the show. I mean, the morning shows are fun. It's just the hours are awful. You have to be in at 3 a.m.,
Ugh, so what time do you have to go to sleep?
like 6 or 7, which really works for a dating life.
That's no dating
Hardly.
life.
Yeah.
Wow. You have to do
Hmm.
all day dates. And then even
Yeah.
if you do find somebody, you're like, you just never see them in the evening.
Yeah. And
And then they
that's
probably
the
go to
one
work,
sucky part.
and then
Hmm.
you're like, "I guess I'll see you never." Like, did you pick the weekends too?
Well, and that was the hard part is then you would be, like when it depends upon which network you were with. When I was with Fox, I had to get in at 1 a.m. because it was a 6 to 9
Oh!
it was a 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. show. It was 3 hours. And when you're local news, you're helping write and produce all that stuff. You don't have like the big wig producers and stuff. You're doing it all yourself too.
Oh,
So that I had to get in at 1 a.m. For ABC, NBC, and CBS, you can get in at like 3:34.
my
But
god,
it's
it's
the
like
show
pitch
started at
black
4:30.
at all these times. It's the middle of the night.
But then Friday comes around, you go home at like noon, you try to like take a 4-hour power nap to then like meet everybody for happy hour. Then all of a sudden your entire schedule shifts to like a normal one over the weekend. And then Sunday you're like, oh God, I have to go to bed or I'm just gonna have to pull an all-nighter, which I usually would just pull an all-nighter to get back in the
Whoa!
schedule. Yeah, it sucked.
That's
For 3
badass.
years I did it. Hmm.
That's so badass. I really want to share this clip of yours. I was watching your demo,
Oh God.
your new what's it called? Your news demo. Let me get it some
Newsreel. Hmm.
newsreel. God
Hmm.
damn it, that's what it is. All right, where did I had it and now it's gone. Here it is. I love this part so much because this is how I knew you were funny and like maybe you could possibly have dabbled in comedy. Was this segment right here.
Shared pictures with us on social media of the purple sky. I want to believe it's aliens. Yeah. Maybe it's because the Earth is flat. Who knows?
Wow. It's too early for that.
Yeah.
Supreme Court nominee.
Fuck yeah. You're like, "I'm
Hmm.
gonna red pill where I can."
Oh yeah.
I don't even know if you actually believe that or not. It's just like it's so fun to say.
Oh yeah. I would always kind of say, especially in the morning, there were times where you would have such a lull with the anchors, like where one of them would get tired or whatever. And the one guy on to the right, my black co-anchor, he
Oh,
always
this
sometimes
black co-anchor?
Yeah, what's up?
oh my god! Well, I was gonna say, sometimes he would kind of, like, get all lull, and I'd say shocking stuff just to wake his ass up, and then that's where you hear him, "Flat Earth," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." "How's it going, you
Wow.
degenerate?"
I'm just fine. How are you?
"I'm great, I'm great."
Me and Farron were just realizing that we had like opposite dreams and
Mhm.
pursued like opposite jobs from like our youth to our old age. Like I really wanted to be a reporter and I wanted to be like a professional. Well, I wanted to be a gymnast and I feel like a dancer is like a close second
We
place
don't
to that.
flip, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Farron maybe thought she wanted to do comedy, but then went into news and it was like
Mhm.
really neat.
It's weird
Yeah.
because I always wanted to be a woman.
Nah, it's not
You
too
still
late.
can, Nick.
I know. I get to realize my dreams. I'm saving up.
Yeah. It won't take much.
Yeah. Just a
I don't know if that was a diss that I was too dumb to get right
You know what's
there.
so crazy? Because I'm watching your reel, Farron, and one of my 15 day jobs that I've had throughout my life was I was an assistant to an agent. So like I worked for a company that like they represented news people. Like I think, God, is there any reason why I can't say the name of the company?
I
I don't know.
probably know
Okay.
I probably
You
know the
probably know
2.
it. There's
Mhm.
probably I'm like, how many
Mhm.
really are there? I worked for a
Yeah.
company that represented news talent, and I thought this was such a cool job. I was like, wow, I'm gonna be moving up in the world. I'm an agent's assistant. Meanwhile, it's like you're just doing menial tasks. Like that's all it is. You're not in the media. You're just like somebody else's bitch. But
I was gonna
I
say
remember
I could find you as you're
we
talking. I'll find
my
you a
boss
video.
I don't work there anymore. My boss represented Lori Dew, who worked for Fox at the time, and I'll never forget. She came in. She was so high maintenance. She was like, "Dude," I was like, "Oh, can I get you some water or something?" Because that's part of my job as assistant. She's like,
Mhm.
"Do you have any flavored seltzer?" And I'm looking around, like my chair has two wheels that fell off of it, and I was like, "No, this is not a flavored seltzer situation here, Lori. Okay." Fuck, and I had to watch so many of those reels, and,
Mhm.
I would sit with my boss and, like, he would, like, judge them, and I would be like it would be crazy, like, he'd watch it for 2 seconds, he'd be like, "Nope, fat neck, get her out of there," he just it takes nothing.
It truly does take nothing.
Mhm.
Fat
Um,
neck. Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
and the other thing too is I will say, like, I got in like you go to J school or journalism J school,
J
and
school.
they're like, you're gonna have a photographer, you're gonna have a live truck guy doing everything. And like right when I get in, I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, you're gonna shoot all this up by yourself. You're gonna set up your live shot by yourself. And you're like, wait, hang on a second. So like everything I just learned, like that I didn't learn, I have to learn it. So here is me, a young Farron reporter, setting up my
How
live by
cute are
myself,
you?
The jacket
waiting.
makes you look fat. Ah!
Oh,
Oh no.
no.
Oh my god,
So
this is reporting.
you're doing this
Mhm,
completely by yourself?
mhm. Yep. You have to set
Oh
up the camera
god,
by yourself and
ew.
everything. Mhm.
You just
And
got brown snowed.
uh-huh. Oh, and that guy knew exactly what he was doing. Exactly. But
What a
yeah,
dick.
that's true reporting, folks. Mhm.
That is reporting. That sounds
Yep.
You d-
fun.
Imagine not having YouTube Premium. What kind of degenerate are you?
Okay, I did have it, and then, my credit card got retarded, and then alright, Frank has it, but I don't. We're on different accounts. I
Why?
had YouTube Premium, and then, I don't know, something I had to get a new card, and then I
Just
just
get on
never
like the
re-upped
family
it.
plan or whatever. You can just add whoever you want to it. It's cost the same.
Really?
You
Mhm.
can have like
Maybe
six
Frank will put
people
me on
on.
his
Yeah.
family plan.
They
Yeah.
lowered the price too because they saw a bunch of people leaving. Because they were like, I'm not paying for premium anymore because YouTube is censoring. So they lowered the price.
I also don't have Spotify Premium if you wanna make fun of me for that too.
No, because if you have YouTube Premium, then you just have YouTube Music, which is just the
Mhm.
same as Spotify.
Hmm, interesting.
Mhm.
I'll have to look into
I
that.
hate Spotify. Spotify can lick my balls.
You guys want to hear something crazy?
Yep.
Yes.
Crazy about my life. Okay. So I grew up in
I guess you gotta look
DuPage
this way.
County. Uh, I grew up in DuPage County. And
Topanga County?
huh?
Topanga County?
No, DuPage County.
DuPage.
It's right outside of Chicago. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. And the school that I went to was a small school. Everybody thought it was a private school. It wasn't. It was just a small school in my town that I grew up in. And in one year, I had two people from my little junior high that made like national news. That was super trippy. The
Well,
first
so did
one,
Columbine. I mean, to be fair.
Yeah.
oh, you dick. Uh, don't steal my thunder,
Yeah,
okay?
Sandy Hook.
There you go, shot you down. Anyway, but I get a call from my mom one day and she's like, Farron, it's him. And I'm like, it's who? And she goes, George. I'm like, George who? She's like, George Papadopoulos. It's the George Papadopoulos you went to school with. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It was the day that he got arrested for the whole Trump stuff. I went to a school dance with him. I grew up with him.
Ooh.
Kind of dumber than a bag of hammers, not gonna lie, but which maybe is why he got in
No.
trouble. But then
No.
I'm covering the Larry Nasser trial. I'm a news anchor in Grand Rapids at the time, and I'm driving to and from Lansing covering this, and I see Nasser come in for the first day, and I see his female lawyer next to him, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Molly Blythe. She's a year older than me. We went to junior high together, and it was just so trippy when you
Wow.
start seeing people. And again, like my town, very small, not like, we had like some school where like all these NFL players come from or anything. It was just two infamous things that all came from my
Wow.
school. And it was like, well, I'm next, you know.
You're
Let's
infamous.
see if we can get next. But yeah, it was so trippy, especially the George Papadopoulos one. So trippy because
That's
I went to school with him, kindergarten to 8th grade. So
Was
weird.
was
wow.
he a 6'6" back then?
Yeah.
He was Greek, so I'm sure,
He
yes.
probably was a
Wait,
333.
he was Greek. He's probably
He's a
not a
Greek.
6.
I
Did
don't
it smell
know.
like feta down there?
I wouldn't know, and thank God I don't.
Mm.
Oh god.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
oh,
Wonder
oh.
Bucket. Norm Macdonald is also my favorite comedian ever. Ooh, I feel like this is a lot of just eligible bachelors in the
Mhm.
chat for you,
Yeah.
Aaron.
Well, Norm isn't my favorite. He was my favorite on Weekend Update because I said I wanted to be a Weekend Update anchor. George Carlin is my ultimate favorite,
Classic.
all-time favorite. Hmm.
So you did Groundlings or Second City?
Second City.
And what was that like? Because I was in UCB, like kind of just rotting away for 5 years,
Hmm.
hoping to be picked for something. And then I realized, oh, they're just gonna keep taking my money.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Then I eventually like did a one woman show and then did stand up. But
Hmm.
did you feel like you had a sense of like progression and
I did, but then I started to see, and you know this as a female too, as a female comic. Sometimes, like especially when you get in, because for those that don't know, Second City is all improv. It's like group improv, and it started to get to the
You're
point
into group
where,
stuff. Got it. Okay.
yeah, love group stuff. But 65666 is usually like the minimum number I want of each representation.
oh yeah,
Holy
that
Yeah.
and
shit. It's
that's
like
just
a
Yeah.
for
garden of success
zip
over
zap
here.
zop.
Yeah, exactly. But no, but I started to see where I either was they automatically like in, as you're going through the scene, either they would like start to have me as like a complete and total bitch or the dumb blonde. And I was like, you guys, there is more to me than just two spectrums, and it
Wow.
was one of these where it's like, okay. And then plus, I mean, the money, I mean, I was tired as working as like, a bartender, even though I was working at Trump Tower in
Ooh.
Chicago. But I mean, it was just, I can't do this life forever. And it was like burning the candle at both ends, bartending and then going and doing Second City. And it was just a lot. And then I was like, you know what? I did it. I can say that I did it, just like dancing for the NBA. But now we go on to the career.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Love you, get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.